So in terms of what I'm going to talk about our ESOL provision, what we're doing that's new in there. I'm going to talk about our English and Maths provision. I know Phil touched on functional skills and stepping stones and things like that, but just delve into a bit of detail there. As I'm sure anyone involved in Access, which Beej mentioned, will know that revalidation is happening at the moment, so I'm just going to touch on our revalidation. And then I'll just touch on a couple of short online qualifications, and I just want to give a little bit more detail on Parnassus as well, which is our new registration system, which is coming in the new year. So again, I know Phil touched on this, but I think what I'm about to say will add some context to what I go into in a moment. So Ascentis are the leading provider of ESOL qualifications throughout the UK, and in the last year we helped over 91,000 learners. That equates to an over 70% market share here in London and also in Wales. And I think Phil touched on 57% of our ESOL business is actually here in the capital as well. And because of that, and because the ESOL community is so important to us and our wish to engage and be involved in that community, it's important to us that we always update, we work with our centres, and that we create new resources for you as well. So in terms of a few things that are new, so in our writing papers, based on some centre feedback, as I say, it's really important that we work with you all here in the room. We've reviewed these, so individual tasks can now be separated when you're printing them back to back. We have a new set 9. I don't know if anyone's used set 9, but we have a new set, and hopefully you'll be looking at using that with some of your exams, which will be upcoming imminently, if not already done. We're continuing with the development of sets, so there will be a new set released next year as well, set 10. So that'll mean that we always have the 3 live sets, so the older set will continue to drop off into the practice papers. Hopefully, many of you will have seen some of the new resources that we have for centre training. Some new materials, again, I'll touch on that in a moment. And we're currently undergoing a practice paper review because, you know, we pride ourselves in having the best for your learners. And in terms of practice papers, the older set always drops off, but it's important that we review those to make sure that they're current in content and current for your learners to make sure that they're getting the best from our ESOL qualifications. So many of you may have seen that we now have our reading papers available online. So these are identical to the papers. And it's entry 1 through to level 1, and actually just yesterday, I didn't have time to update this slide, just yesterday it's now at level 2 as well. And we also have practice sets available. So some of the benefits, some of you may have spotted the Surpass stand outside. So Surpass is a secure platform that we use for all of our online assessments. The papers are automatically marked on Surpass. So again, that reduces some of the admin in terms of marking and IVing, etc. And for those learners that might be doing something like Essential Digital Skills with us, it can also help enhance the practice on digital skills. So yeah, we've got the practice set, we've got level 2 released yesterday, so hot off the press all for everyone here. So that's reading, entry 1, all the way through to level 2. So I mentioned we have new resources for centre staff training. So we have exemplar videos for centres. So these are speaking and listening assessments which were recorded on the day, so they're real life examples. And they're examples of how to conduct the assessment. So not how to mark them, but how to conduct the assessment. And they have commentary on there as well. The most exciting thing, and when I said right at the start about how it's important that we continue to engage with our ESOL community and find better ways for us to work with you, I think Phil touched on the ESOL Hub, which we're going to have in February, which is going to be great. We've got lots of grammar resources, things like that, which we'll work with our centres to get feedback on. But we also have Metaverse Learning, a partnership platform that we've built with them. Again, James is outside from Metaverse, so if you want a demo throughout the lunch, please go and speak to him. He's also giving a little bit of a presentation afterwards as well. But to give you a bit of a snapshot, so we're going to create 9 scenarios, of which we have 4 pretty much ready to go. 2 are signed off and ready to go. And the 2 that we have are house and home, and we have an interview scenario as well. So the house and home is at entry 1. and that's going around the house, identifying objects, and a lot of centres, that we've spoken to and we've got feedback from, have this idea of putting it up onto a projector like this and engaging in group discussions with the learners. The second scenario is an interview scenario aimed at entry 3. And so these are scenarios where you would go into a real-life interview room on a computer. This can be on a computer. You don't have to have a headset. You go into an interview room, you listen to the interviewer speak, and you give your answers back to questions. So real interactivity there, and again, can be used as a group as well as individual. All of the metaverse scenarios, when we release them all, are mapped to Ascentis assessments. So when your learners are going through the metaverse resources, they'll link to our most popular sets of papers. So hopefully you'll be able to see the continued path through all of your teaching, all of the metaverse resources, and then the assessment at the end. We're aiming to have all of the sets, all nine scenarios, ready for early new year, sort of January, February time. They should all be available for you. As I say, James is on later today, and he's also in the foyer giving out demos, so if anyone wants to pop to the Metaverse stand, or indeed pop to the Ascentis sales team, who are also in the foyer as well, we'll have Metaverse available, and we'll be able to show you that during the lunch break. So that's ESOL, and that's what's new with ESOL. I hope you can see the investment that we're making in there. In terms of our English and maths offering, so currently we have pre-entry literacy and numeracy, which is an unregulated qualification but has funding through RAPA. I'm sure Beej will touch on RAPA funding through his workshop. We also then have English and maths skills, which are available at entry 1 through to level 2. These don't have any funding attached to them, but we do have stepping stones for functional skills, which are mapped to the same newly reformed functional skills at entry 1 through to level 1. Now, with the stepping stones, these are piecemeal assessments. So rather than teaching at the beginning and then going all the way through the academic year and an assessment at the end, you can take piecemeal assessments as and when the learners are ready. So, for example, if you were to do the first term on data handling, you had a cohort of learners that were ready for assessment, you could then do the data handling unit. You could then go on to the next unit and the next unit and so on and so forth until such time as you reach the required credits for a certificate, an award, and extended certificate. But what I really want to touch on is our functional skills offering, which will be available from the next academic year. So we're in midst development, talking through this with Ofqual at the moment. So the term that we've used is born digital assessment. So this means that all of our assessments are going to be on that Surpass system. They're going to be online, and in some instances computer marked, which I'll talk on the next slide. I just want to point out at the table just over there, we've got Jack and, yeah, there he is. Jack and Jane, Jane wants to give us a wave, who are leading us on our functional skills development. So again, any questions throughout the lunch break, please do seek them out, and I'm sure they'll be able to help. We're also looking for centres to help us with a pre-test. So if you've got any functional skills learners and perhaps they're getting ready for exams and you want to have some mocks, it would help us all out, I think, because we'd be able to gain some data from you and you'd be able to use that for your mocks with your learners. Of course, as with any of our qualifications, they're developed through our very stringent process, and this will be available for the next academic year. So, in terms of functional skills, so we'll have our teaching and learning classroom-based as normal. We'll then have the assessment online on Surpass. Then we'll have marking and verification. So the marking at entry level is a mixture of tutor marking and computer marking. And then, as with regulatory requirements from level 1 and level 2, they are AO assessed, so they would come into Ascentis to be assessed. And then it would go to awarding, and your learners would get their achievement. And here's just an example of one of the papers. So as you can see, this is how it would look to the learner on the Surpass system. I can see a few people have been taking pictures of the slides throughout, but we will send these slides out as well, so don't feel the need to necessarily take pictures as you go unless you really want to. In terms of access to higher education, so we're going through revalidation at the moment, but we're still operating a business as usual approach. So over the past couple of years, we've developed some really bespoke diplomas with Ascentis. So we now have an esports diploma, we have an automotive engineering diploma, we have a mental health and well-being diploma, which is new for this year. And all of those have been developed with our centres. So the centres would come to us with a business case. They would say, you know, the progression routes for the learners from having something like this would be X, Y, and Z. The amount of learners that we're getting that want this qualification are X, Y, and Z. This would benefit as a whole, you know, not just our college, but learners as a whole. We take that into consideration, and then we work with you to design the briefs and design the diploma. So although we're going through revalidation, that's still very much something that we're open to working with you on. So please do feel free to contact myself or any of the team should you wish to discuss that. In terms of revalidation itself, I won't go into too much detail on this. So in terms of the diploma specification, it's now a minimum of 1 unit of either 6 or 9 credits. For any one diploma, it has to be a combination of 6 or 9 credits that does not exceed 30 in total. And these, as now, can be ungraded or graded credits. The grading scheme, so there's 3 grading standards. So these replace the 7 current grading descriptors, and these are knowledge and understanding, subject-specific skills, and transferable skills. And just to finish on the revalidation process, so of course we use the QAA regulatory changes in addition to working with you, working with our centres, getting your comments, your usage, talking about changes. We have our validating panels. I'm not sure when the next one is, but again, anyone interested in joining on our validation panels, please get in touch. And as with all qualifications, but particularly with Access, we maintain academic rigour. We address and embed our contemporary content, and we identify and develop strong pathways for progression. So when I mention working with our centres on new diplomas, very much is the progression of the learner and where they can go from there. I'm just going to touch a bit on our short online qualifications. So we have 25 funded titles. You'll see 29 there, but 25 funded titles. So our internet safety qualifications and our level 2 carbon literacy currently don't have any funding attached to them. But these are really, really great qualifications for your learners. So they're between 10 and 30 guided learning hours. The 25 that I mentioned, and I'll go into a bit of detail on those in a moment, are funded. And these are a great range because of the short nature of them. They're a great way for underspent AEB. They're great for initial cohorts of learners, someone that you want to have quick results for, just to help with that retention. If they're getting a level 1 or an entry 3 qualification early on in the time with you, the more likelihood is that that's going to increase the passion for wanting to stay within education. They've got something early, they can see what they're working towards. So in terms of our ESOL learners, these tend to be our top 3. So it's an entry 3 awarding an introduction to British values, level 1 in citizenship, and an entry 3 and level 1 in equality and diversity. These all come with Moodle resources, and these are trackable courses as well, so you can see how far the learner's going on the course, so you can see when they may be ready for assessment. And they all come with tutor guidance, and they all come with a glossary of terms to help the learners. Now, particularly at things like British values and citizenship, these are going to be terms that the learners aren't used to. They're not used to seeing these terms on a day-to-day basis. So we provide a glossary to all of the qualifications, but a glossary of terms, and in some instances, those are written to a language level below the qualification as well. We have a range of these, so we have them from health and safety ones, we have personal finance ones, we have environmental sustainability qualifications. One that's been really popular over the last couple of years, you'll see 2 here, managing personal finance. I think we all probably need that, particularly as my credit card bills just come through the door. But level 1 in mental health and well-being. So with everything everyone has gone through over the recent years, with all the pandemics, all the lockdowns, all the changes to the way we live, it's really important that we know how to look after our own mental health, spotting signs in other people's mental health, and also learning where to get that support from, or where to direct people to support from. And that's what this qualification does. It's a 10 guided learning hour qualification, but it's been immensely popular with our learners and with our centres over the past few years. I'm not going to read all this out, I'm just going to touch on this, but we also can e-invigilate as well. So if you have learners that can't come into class for whatever reason for assessment, we do have an e-invigilation system as well. And just to finish on short online qualifications, so I mentioned the interactive resources. We have the Moodle platform, the indicative content. So you probably can't see it so well on this, but again, the slides will go out. But indicative content to help you with your learners, to help teach the content, to help teach them to ultimately succeed, help your pass rates. We also provide some sample questions as well, so you know what sort of thing is going to be coming up for your learners. And there's a glossary of terms. So you can see, I can't read it myself, but you can see here, backbencher, a member of parliament who is not a part of the government, help make the laws, and challenge government by asking questions. So that's an example, obviously, from the citizenship short online qualification. Again, any further detail, any further questions on that, please come and find me or one of my team over the break. And finally, from me, the transition from QuartzWeb to Parnassus. So, QuartzWeb, for those of you that may not know, is our registration system. It's also where all our documents are, all our live papers, all our sample papers, practice papers, I should say, rather. And so we're going to move to a new and exciting and very modern system called Parnassus in the new year. And this is sort of the timeline we've been doing it. We've been doing training all throughout November, and they've proved very popular. We've had lots of people on them. But again, we appreciate the need to continually do this, particularly maybe January, February time, you're going to be doing your claims. So we will be running more training in the new year as well, so watch out for the dates for that. And if you haven't already been to a session or your colleagues haven't, please do encourage them to sign up. So as of the 1st of December, which is this Friday, so very quickly, all results that need verifying need to be updated. Then on the 8th of December, that's the last day for any verifications taking place. At 5 o'clock on the 21st of December, all your learner registrations that you want to make claims on in the new year need to be uploaded into QuartzWeb. And then also at 5 o'clock on the 21st, it's the last day to schedule any online assessments. So if you are looking to do any short online qualifications or anything like that, any ESOL reading exams online, that's the last day to schedule any of those before Parnassus is live. The 22nd of December, QuartzWeb will no longer be available. But whatever was in QuartzWeb as of 5 o'clock on the 21st of December will be transferred to the new Parnassus system. Then we've got lots of people working very hard on data migrations over the Christmas break, so we're sort of doing a bit of a Scrooge with them and not letting them have a Christmas, to make sure that our Parnassus system is ready and live for you to use as of the 8th of January. So hopefully, as we're doing it over the Christmas break, that won't impact you too much. As I say, everything will be transitioned to the new system as well. And again, any questions on Parnassus, please do feel free to come and reach out to me at the break, and I'll be happy to answer any of those.